Hi, everybody. Welcome to Kidney Coach. I'm naturopathic Dr. Fiona Chin, and I'm with Morgan Camp. And we wanted to share some information about CBD oil and its use in kidney disease, because it's one that there's not a lot of research on. And Dr. Camp, if you haven't met him before, he's a functional practitioner and integrative medicine doctor. He's been practicing for well over, I want to say you're coming up on 30 years, right, Morgan? Or am I just adding it?
20, well, including residency, 22 years, but more functional integrated medicine for 18 years, something like that.
Yeah, you're one of the originals. So have you noticed in that time, and Morgan has done so many podcasts with us, but we really just wanted to dig into CBD today. And interesting with functional medicine, one of the things that have become one of the new age crazes is CBD oil. And it's sort of made its brand and got really popular a couple of years ago. And the reason we're doing this is we get a lot of questions from our audience being asked whether CBD is useful in kidney disease. And so Morgan is now, you're on the medical advisory board for a really great CBD company. It's a company that I also really like using because of their dosages. So we thought we'd get Morgan to answer all these questions for everybody. So first off, CBD, tell us more about it. Why is it become such a big thing? Why are people using it? Why is it so popular at the moment? What does it do? And why maybe with kidney disease would somebody think about using it?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, so I'm sure most of the listeners have heard about CBD. Probably many have even tried it. Probably many have had success, and many might have had failure. So we'll try to cover some of that and why and how. So CBD is popular because it's a safe, natural treatment that has virtually no side effects other than, common things like sedation, and some people have paradoxical responses where they might get anxious. But that always wears off within a few hours. They have no long-term significant side effects, meaning you're not going to harm any organs if you take it, compared to other pain meds, which are like NSAIDs, which are either kidney and stomach toxic at high doses, or opiates, which of course are addictive. So CBD by itself, without THC, has no addictive properties. Side effects are minimal, and then a lot of people like it because it can lower systemic inflammation when taken at high doses for a long period of time. There's a couple caveats with picking the right form of CBD. So there are many types of CBD, and a lot of the cheaper versions are like CBD isolates, which are just like the CBD molecule by itself. And those are less efficacious. And then also a lot of the bottles on the market aren't actually that strong necessarily. So buyer beware a little bit of what you're getting. I'm an advisor for Yellow Athletic CBD. We have a full spectrum hemp-based product, so there's no THC, or less than an amount that would cause you to be positive on a drug test, but negligible amount. And we do have the certificate of analysis on these. So it's full spectrum. We have terpenes in it. So the terpenes are like the smell that if you've ever smelled cannabis, I'm sure everyone has. The odor and the smell and the flavors there are the terpenes. So those are chemicals which also have their own chemical effects on mood and pain as well. So Yellow Athletic has terpenes added to theirs, which gives a good benefit as well. And also the one big reason for the Yellow Athletic is great is that it's really high dose. So each bottle is dosed really high. There's a lot in there. We have the certificate. The founder has the certificate of analysis on record to show you that these are highly potent and highly bioavailable CBD products. One of the reasons I love CBD, and I've been prescribing it for over a decade, is it's safe. The biggest reason to use CBD is, again, because it's not harming any organs. All the over-the-counter medications, Tylenol, ibuprofen, or acetaminophen or paracetamol, or whatever you guys have in Australia. I'm not sure that I know that they're different in different areas of the world. But we have ibuprofen here and all the cousins of that, naproxen and naproxen, all those, and those all have significant kidney damaging side effects, as well as they cause a lot of gastritis, bleeding ulcers, etc. I saw a lot of that when I was in residency. A lot of people with bleeding ulcers drink, have a glass of wine and an ibuprofen recipe for a bleeding ulcer. Not the same with CBD. So that's one of the big reasons I love it. It's safe, and we have our own endocannabinoid system. So we have receptors in our body for cannabinoids, including CBD. So we have these CBD receptors. So it's like our body's wired to receive this, natural gift from Mother Earth. It's and it really is a very safe product.
So really, it's mostly for pain. Is there any other benefits potentially with people with kidney disease and using CBD?
Yeah, good question. Well, from just a mood standpoint, a lot of people notice a calmness and a lessening of anxious-like symptoms. And so it's very good for bringing pain, inflammation, anxiousness down. It's also, as you have in a blog you wrote years ago, good research on it showing that it actually might be actually kidney, not only just protective, but it actually might help lower inflammation in the kidney as well via some of these CBD receptors. So you maybe we could put the link to the study in the in the podcast here, and show in there that there's not a lot of research, but there's a little bit showing that potentially CBD is lowering toxicity on kidneys from chemotherapy and other agents. Obviously there's not a lot of money being spent on research on CBD because it is a patented pharmaceutical in the US. Actually, they have one safe enough where it is FDA approved in one form. This isn't FDA approved, just to be clear, but there are an FDA approved form of it. So although in our world, I don't think FDA approval means safety. I think most people are becoming more aware that that's not necessarily means it's safe, unfortunately.
Exactly. Well, I know the studies that wrote in that blog, it was the CBD receptors in the kidneys. So the kidneys are, the tissue wants to or is designed to work with CBD particles, whatever the word, molecules, so to regulate and do stuff in there. So it makes sense that it's protective. And it's interesting because, obviously I've spoken to the guys at Yellow Athletic as well. We're really big on what products we share with our viewers and all of those sort of things. And having ordered and used CBD myself for years for chronic pain, a problem I have with a lot of CBD is it just didn't work because the dosages aren't actually high enough. And I think people buying online for the first time, don't know that. Buy something and then it doesn't work, so then they think CBD doesn't work. And for me, it wasn't until I was actually originally prescribed something here in Australia that is around the same dosages as the Yellow Athletic, that actually I was like, oh, CBD works, and I don't need to take. And my pain can get so bad that I can spend the day vomiting, and this is the CBD actually takes it, so it's in the background noise of my daily life. So pain goes from about an 8 and it sits at about a 3 to 4, which is very manageable for me. And that's the only thing that does that is CBD oil. So I'm a huge fan of it for pain management and not having to take, as you mentioned, all the other drugs. I've been on it for years with no changes to liver function, kidney function. Everything is all still happy and normal, and you can still drive, and like you say, the calming effect that it has, it improves my sleep, all of those sort of things. So I really like it as well. And I was very excited to find, like, this is the Yellow Athletic stuff here, so it comes in these pretty yellow containers and things like that you actually have got one that's at a good dosage, so people can actually buy that and it will work, which, as you mentioned, that's one of the biggest problems that I see in the general public buying something online.
Absolutely. Yeah, and Yellow Athletic has some unique products. There's two that are unique. So that one, they have a daily CBD liquid, which you can take at any time of the day. Now, of course, if you take, you take 1 dropper full, it's going to calm you a little bit. You take 2 or 3, you're going to be, you're probably not going to be at your highest focus and concentration. Let's say that, it's not going to necessarily put you to sleep, but you will be calm. There is the two really unique products, Yellow Athletic, or the warming stick. So this was formulated by an acupuncturist, and it actually, you take the top off and show it's a red stick that has these so it has these warming herbs inside that really everybody loves this. I've had a lot of patients buy this, and a lot of friends and family members try it, and give it to a lot of doctors and colleagues, and everyone loves that, because if you've got like a little area that's hurt or injured or chronic pain in one area, I've had 4 herniated discs in my low back. I just grab it. I got it sitting right here. I just grab it, and if I'm sitting at my desk too long, I'll just rub it on my back in that one area, and it takes the pain away for a few hours with no side effects. Warming stick, because this was working localized, so I don't even get like that calming effect, which when I'm working, maybe I don't want that calming effect, so it helps me stay focused.
Yeah, that's
awesome. On the other end of the spectrum is the sleep formula, and the sleep formula is unique because it has CBD, CBG, and CBN in it. So these aren't alphabet soups, but these are types of cannabinoids in the liquid. The CBG is a precursor cannabinoid that has a lot of benefits around brain health, is in the research showing. And CBN is a sedative. So CBN is very calming and often good to help you like fall asleep. I find the sleep formula to be very useful for that, to help fall asleep. And I just keep one by my bedstand, and I don't use it every night. If I use it every night, then tolerance builds up to any product and it stops working. But I'll put it by the bedstand, and if I wake up in the middle of the night, just put a dropper full in my mouth, and I'm usually back to sleep pretty quickly and sleep through the night.
Nice.
I find it very useful for that. And I've treated thousands of people with insomnia. I've had insomnia off and on since I was a kid. So I've researched and tried every sleep formula, sleep product, etc. And I'm not a fan of prescription sleep aids at all. Those are only blocking your ability to go in deep sleep and REM sleep. So I don't take those ever. I've literally taken less than a handful of maybe 5 in my whole life of sleep pills for prescription sleeping aids, just because the evidence is that bad on how dangerous they are to your system. And there's even evidence suggesting that, we're not even going to go there, but let's just say they're not good for you prescription sleep aids.
No. And we know how important a good night's sleep is to recovery and, from disease and injury prevention. And if you've got a chronic disease like kidney disease, you need to be getting your good 8 hours sleep. It regulates your blood sugar levels and heart rate variability and blood pressure. So all of those things which can contribute to kidney disease. So getting a good quality night's sleep is, imperative to healing. So that could be really useful. And it's hard when you've got a chronic disease, because often what happens is your sleep goes out the window, which is what happened to me initially. So, and it was, CBD that got mine back on track as well. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly, Fiona. And the other thing is, like you said, it takes your pain from like an 8 to a 3 or 4. Yeah, that's important for people to understand. It's if you have a lot of pain, it's not going to take it all away to 0. Nothing really is going to do that, except maybe a high dose opiate, and with all the side effects with it. So I always want to frame expectations around CBD. It's going to bring it for a lot of patients. It will calm, take the edge off, bring it down, maybe not to 0, but take it down. And then if you do need something stronger, guess what? You don't have to take as much of it. You have less side effects to it. And that will, of course, benefit you. So if you absolutely have to take an NSAID or an ibuprofen, instead of taking 800 milligrams of it, maybe you only need 200 milligrams of it with CBD. That sort of thing. So less toxicity on your kidneys and your stomach and the rest of your body by layering those two together in that way. So that's how I like to think about it.
No, I totally agree. Well, is there anything else you want to say? I mean, I know, like I say, for me, I was disappointed with buying online CBD, and then I went through the channels of getting high dose prescription here in Australia. And then obviously you introduced me to Yellow Athletic, and I've been using their products to trial them against my very high scripted, CBD. And I can say it works just as well, which for me says a lot, because mine are these big scripted ones. So, and I get, leg spasms and a whole pile of things that come along with my spinal cord injury. So I have definitely found Yellow Athletic to be on par with my really high dose stuff, which has been great for me. And that warming stick is what I rub it on my calves when I get my leg cramps at night. It's so good. So
perfect.
yeah, so I really like the formulas, and we'll put a link in the notes below and in the email that's coming out with this, so you can have a look at that if that's something. Is there one that you would suggest people start with if someone was thinking about getting into starting with some Yellow Athletic or trying some CBD? Where would you suggest people start?
Perfect. Yeah, I'll go over that and just some tips on how to take them too. So
Yeah,
the
that'd be great.
I think it's the daily CBD. It's the one with the little red print on there, or is it anytime? I always get the labels confused
Oh
here.
yeah, anytime recovery.
Oh,
That
yeah,
one.
the anytime recovery. Yeah. So this is, as the name implies, Yellow Athletic. So a lot of, this is for athletes and recovery after exercise, or just, you injured yourself and you're hurting now too. So that liquid, the way I recommend, that's a good starting point. That'll get your baseline blood level of CBD up. And what I've tried to do with that and recommend for my clients is take that regularly. Take it a couple times a day on a regular basis. And yeah, maybe the first dose doesn't solve all your problems, but when I've found myself and I've had countless injuries and so much pain, is that, and I did this when I started taking the Athletic. I was like, let me just take it at a high dose for a week and see what happens. Versus like, oh, a little once in a while. I took it around the clock, 2 or 3 doses a day, 1 to 2 dropper fulls for a full week. And it definitely brought like the baseline pain way down. So that's one way to bring like your baseline background pain down. And again, so that's that one. The warming stick is the most popular product. Everyone loves it. There's nothing like it on the market. If you just have an acute injury or one spot that gets you, that's the product. Works fantastic, and there's no side effects of that other than it can stain your clothes a little bit. You have to be careful just because it's warming. So don't put your nice white shirt on after you rub that on.
Right.
But yeah, that's really safe. There's a cooling gel too, which is similar to the warming stick, but as the name implies, it's cooling. It's also great. Some people just like cooling better. I love the sleep formula because if I sleep better, everything gets better in my life. Pain goes down if I sleep better. So
that's definitely my experience.
So I love that one. And, I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that one as well. And but those are my favorites. There's the Focus gummy bears too, which are good, which I popped one right before the call. Definitely feel it working and much more clear and coherent now. Because CBD with CBG at the right dose actually can help improve focus and concentration. Yeah.
Yeah,
so.
same to you. These are actually really delicious. I have to, because I don't eat really any sugar and they're yummy. So if I have one, I'm like, ooh, lollies. So to make sure I don't eat a whole pile of them. They're so good. And they've got lion's mane and a bit of Panax ginseng in them as well. So, and B12 for focus. I really like this formula. I think this is a really good formula.
And yeah, that's it. So yeah, hard to pick one, depends on the person, the situation, of course. And, but really you can't go wrong. They're all good products. Again, we have those certificate of analysis on there. That's why I like the company. We know what's in there. They all have as much on the label, if not more. Most of them have more when we did the lab analysis. So they're usually a little stronger versus a little weaker than you would expect.
Yeah, no, they're, like I say, I found them to be really good. And I think if you use the link below, I'm pretty sure there's a discount on there. I can't remember what it is, but I know you get a discount if you use the little links. So get you started and to see how it goes. Anything else you want to add about the amazing effects of CBD or Yellow Athletic?
I think we covered it pretty well. Yeah, I feel pretty good about that. What about you? Any thoughts? Well, I mean, I was struck when we first had this conversation with you, and you were talking about how much it changed your life just to be able to take CBD versus an opiate. And I know how much your audience has followed your journey and your path. So I thought that would be something that they would really appreciate hearing, that you've got a good product that you find useful and that's helpful for you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it is. CBD is the thing that if I run out, or if I don't, if I have, for whatever reason, the pharmacy hasn't updated my script, or I don't have now, I've got backup with Yellow Athletic. If I don't have CBD for takes about 4 days, I go back up to being, I can't talk, I can't work, I'm in crippling pain, I don't sleep, and it takes another 4 to 5 days of CBD to knock that, to get my levels back up again. So CBD is how I function, it's how I do this. Like, I don't function without it. That's how much of a difference it makes to me. Like, it's one of the things that I'm like, have I got enough CBD? Like, I've got bottles stashed everywhere. So it's been, for me, definitely life-changing. Again, I can't really function effectively without it. So I am a huge fan of CBD personally for those reasons.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Cool. Well, if you want to know more about Yellow Athletic, the link is below. As Dr. Camp said, there's a whole pile of their certificate analyses on their website, so you can see the quality and all of those sort of things. Dr. Camp actually sits on the advisory board, so I know it's a trusted product because I know what standard he holds things to. So, and I have chatted to the owners of their products, and Robert is just a super passionate guy about the industry and what he's doing and making really good quality products. And I really like when you can talk to a business owner, know the medical advisor, and just go, yeah, you're making a really amazing product, which is why I really wanted to share this with our kidney disease community, for those out there that maybe are dealing with pain and don't have a suitable alternative from taking ibuprofen, which we know is going to wreck your kidneys, or that you're having really bad sleep, or you're just super anxious because you're diagnosed with a chronic disease. So CBD is really my choice for those sort of things without having all the negative side effects that maybe the pharmaceuticals do. So Dr. Camp, thank you for sharing your wisdom with us as always. And for, getting on the advisory board. I know that you don't really have spare time, so being able to do something like that and share your wisdom so these companies can really have someone that's got amazing medical training and making sure that their products are up to scratch and things like that. So thank you for doing that. That's also great, again, in all your spare time that you don't have. If you want to know more, make sure you follow the link below. If you want to know more about what Dr. Camp does, I'll put his link in as well. He is seeing new patients, but you might have to wait a little while to get in to see him, but you can always send him an email and see if he can support you. He's amazing with all things integrative. And if you haven't met him before, make sure you go back and listen to some, there's lots of podcasts where you'll understand just how much wisdom and knowledge this man has. And if you want to know more about what we do, head to www.kidneycoach.com. Thanks for being part of our audience. If you have any questions about this, feel free to email the team. They can answer all your questions in CBD, or drop a comment in below. Thanks for being part of our community. We'll talk to you next time. Thanks, Dr. Camp. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.